Free college football picks. This is action here for Saturday, August 31st. Tony T, our college football pick show here for Saturday action. We have all 29 games. Before we get into just a couple of things, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have free college football picks updated all season long. Free picks every day from the major sports. Make it a great time to subscribe. Guys, give us a like and thumbs up on this video. We greatly appreciate it. Then visit our site, Tony'sPicks.com. We're our multi-capper site showcasing top performers in our industry. Click the links to the hot cappers, get signed up to long-term passes. Top performers like Brandon Check for the year. Daniel doing great. Tiffany's been on it. Tear. Wow, look at the numbers yesterday from Butterscotch up there. Steve, Mindy. Rod's been hot. Click the links, get signed up to long-term passes. Latest print picks here center of the page. Best bets and more will be locked and loaded for Saturday. Just make sure you note here, our one-day passes are profit guarantee, meaning they must turn a profit or amount purchased, so we credit back to your account for side credits. That's profit guarantee. Our promo code TonyT at checkout will knock off 15% off all pre-pick packages. Find a link to our site in the description. Next level service is that executive service for those big bankroll bettors. We give you picks throughout the betting cycle to ensure you get the plays and to help you get the best numbers. We also rate the plays. Now, if you bet $500 or more per game, this would be within your price range. Call or text 323-607-0203. All right, let's go ahead and let's get this one started. All right, it's a Kent and Pittsburgh college football pick for Saturday. Kent comes off a 1-11 season last year for head coach Kenny Burns, returning in his third season. They will have 9 starters back on offense for the defense. They were the 133rd scoring offense in college football last year by with just poor point totals per game. Junior Devin Cargman has been named starting quarterback in his third year with the program. In his 9-year career, completion rate just 45%, 5.9 yards per pass attempt. Pitt, they were disappointing, 3-9 last year for head coach Pat Narduzzi, who enters his 10th year with the program. Has a long contract, may still be feeling the pressure here. The team returns 9 starters on offense for the defense. The offense stalled in 2023 as the Panthers sat 122nd in scoring by putting up 18 points a game. They sat near the bottom of college football on third down and had inaccurate quarterback play. Senior Nate Yarnell is battling with redshirt freshman Eli Holstein for the starting position at quarterback. He saw action did Yarnell in 4 games last season, hitting 66% of his passes for 9.6 yards per pass attempt. Kent struggled to run the football, 2.6 yards per attempt, ranking 132nd in the nation. Golden Flashes are being rebuilt here. Pittsburgh may just lean on their defense here with the physical advantage up front. Play Kent and Pitt under 54.5. All right, the big one here, Georgia and Clemson and college football pick. This one here on Saturday. Game will be played neutral site in Atlanta. Dabo Swinney enters his 17th season with the Tigers. The team went 9-4 last year, returned 9 starters on offense, 5 of the defense. Swinney is reluctant really to use that transfer portal to restock players, very loyal to his recruits. You know, this was a mid-pack scoring offense last year, putting up 27 points a game. Same can be said about the passing and running game. They were 24th ranked scoring defense, though, in college football, allowing 21 points a game. Junior Kate Klubnik is under center and completes 64% of his passes last season, amounted 6.3 yards per pass attempt, though. Georgia 13-1 for head coach Kirby Smart last year, who enters his 9th season. This was an elite program last year that sat 5th in scoring offense, 7th on the defensive side. 7 starters are back on offense and defense. The team rushed for 5.3 yards a carry. Carson Beck returns under center for his senior season. He had 72% of his passes, 9.5 yards per pass attempt. He also rushed for 4 touchdowns. You know, that front 7 is very strong here for the Bulldogs. Quarterback and running back play gives an edge here to Georgia as well. Early in the season, they're fresh, have plenty of time. Smartest have plenty of time to get ready for this opponent. Play Georgia minus 13.5. Virginia Tech and Vanderbilt college football pick for Saturday. Virginia Tech finished 7-6 last year for head coach Brent Fry, who is in his 3rd season. An experienced team that returns 11 on offense, 10 to the defense. The Hokies put up 29 points per game last year, but struggled to convert third downs. They had a good running attack, but suffered from inaccurate quarterback play. Still, the offensive performance was a huge improvement over the previous season. The defense held opponents to 24 points per game with their strength in defending the pass. The pass rush returned last year with massive improvement. Aaron Jones is in his senior season. He completed 58% of his throws last year, rushed for 818 yards, 5 touchdowns. Vandy 2-10 in 2023. Clark Lay is in his 4th season with the program, but has 6 starters back on offense, 8 to the defense. Playing the rigors of an SEC schedule, saw below average performance in the offensive defensive side. Quarterback Diego Pavia transfers here from New Mexico State. He elevated that program last season. He completed 60% of his passes for nearly 2,000 yards, 8.1 yards per pass attempt. He rushed for 925 yards, averaging 5.3 yards a carry. Vanderbilt head coach Carcolay is running the defense as he turns over the offensive side of the football to his coordinator. Pavia's ability to make plays with the legs is a massive plus here. This is a healthy Commodores team that hasn't been beaten up by the SEC schedule yet. The Hokies are on the uptick, but not ready to lay almost 2 touchdowns here on the road. Play Vanderbilt plus 13.5. UConn and Maryland college football pick Saturday. UConn comes off a 3-9 season in 2023. Head coach Jim Moore is in his 3rd season with the program that returns 5 on offense, 8 to the defense. Offense performance was poor in 2023 as the Huskies produced 18 points per game offensively and were 101st on 3rd down. Inaccurate quarterback play coupled with a mediocre rushing attack. Defensively, they held opponents to 32 points per game with struggles defending the pass. Senior quarterback Joseph Fagnano will start. Transfer from Maine, who put up respectable numbers in his final 2 seasons there. Mike Loxley is back for his 6th season as head coach here for Maryland, going 8-5 last year. They returned only 4 on offense, 8 to the defense. The team struggled to generate a ground game and produced 29 points per game, sitting 51st. Defensively, they held opponents at 24 points per game, doing a great job stopping the run and holding opposing quarterbacks at 57% completion rate. Quarterback Tua Tagovailoa must be replaced. NC State transfer MJ Morris expected to start. He played in 4 games with the Wolfpack last season, completing just 56% of his passes with only 6.4 yards per pass attempt with no running ability. UConn was a bowl team member in 2022. Their top rushers are back. They were able to attract receivers from the portal. On defense, they're experienced in the secondary. Quarterback and only 1 starter back to the offensive line of concern for Maryland. There are questions about their running game, if it can improve with only 1 starter back on that line. We'll take UConn plus 20.5. Penn State and West Virginia college football pick for Saturday. Penn State finished at 10-3 last season in James Franklin's 10th season. The team returned 6 starters on offense, 7 to the defense. The Nittany Lions were a stout defensive team, sitting 3rd in scoring defense by allowing 14 points per game. Offensively, they put up 34 a game. They averaged 4.6 yards per rush with below average accuracy at the quarterback position. Duillard returns under center for his junior season. As a starter last year, he completed 60% of his passes for only 6.8 yards per attempt. West Virginia went 9-4 last year for head coach Neil Brown, now in his 6th season. They returned 8 players on the offense, 5 of the defense. The Mountaineers produced 29 points per game last season with high volume running and 5.2 yards a carry. Quarterback play was inaccurate, sitting 117th in the nation at 50% completion rate. Garrett Green returns for his senior season, a running style quarterback that completed only 53% of his throws. Despite the defensive coordinator change, remember Tom Allen come over from Indiana for Matt Diaz, who goes into head coaching for Duke. There's enough talent here. I think it's a downgrade, but still, I just think the talent level here is too strong for Penn State. This is a tough place to play, though, for opposing offenses. Expect a lot of running and ball possession for the Mountaineers here to try and keep their defense off the field. Play Penn State and West Virginia under 51.5. Ohio and Syracuse college football pick for Saturday. Ohio finished at 10-3 last year for head coach Tim Albin, who enters his 3rd season. The team returns only 2 starters on offense, 4 to the defense. The Bobcats finished 8th in scoring defense by allowing 16 points per game by defending the run well. Offensively, they put up 24 points per game with struggles running the football, 3.8 yards a carry. They must replace quarterback Curtis Rourke, who transferred to Indiana. Parker Navarro will start at quarterback in his senior season. He started their bowl game last year, but has seen very little action in his college career. Syracuse 6-7 last year. Fran Brown enters his first season as head coach with the program that returns 9 to the offense, 8 to the defense. They fell off massively on offense in 2023 by averaging 20 points a game and struggles in both the run and pass. On defense, the Orange gave up 27 points a game with poor pass defense and third down conversions. Colin McCord will start at quarterback as he transfers in from Ohio State. That was a big capture, though. He completed 66% of his passes last year, 9.1 yards per rush, and not per pass attempt, and not a threat to run. A massive rebound for the Bobcats, a rebuild, I should say, for the Bobcats as they missed Rourke. Syracuse did a decent job of stopping the run. Offense will be a major issue here for Ohio, so we'll look at Ohio and Syracuse to go under 47.5. Miami O and Northwestern college football pick this one here on Saturday. Miami, Ohio went 11-3 last year for head coach Chuck Martin, who is now in his 11th year. The Red Hawks brought back 6 starters on offense and the defense. This was the 5th ranked scoring defense in college football by allowing 15.5 points a game. Offensively, though, they only produced 299 yards a game. That was 123rd in the nation. The run game average was 3.8 yards a carry, inaccurate passing from the quarterback. But Brett Gabbert returns for his senior season after injury plague. 2023, Gabbert in 8 games hit 59% of his passes, 8.7 yards per pass attempt. Miami, Ohio had the best punter in the nation, the Ray Guy winner, and a place kicker that made 27-28 last year. They both are gone, getting scooped up in the portal. Also gone are their top back and receiver. They also lost the key defensive end in the portal. Northwestern went 8-5 last year for head coach David Braun, who is in his 3rd season. They went 1-11 in 2022. The Wildcats returned 7 on offense, 8 to the defense. They defended well in 2023, holding opponents to 23 points per game with a solid run defense and limiting big plays in the passing game. Senior quarterback Mike Wright is competing for the starting quarterback job. Wright saw time at Vanderbilt and Mississippi State, showing an ability to run. A career 55% completion rate with 6.1 yards per pass attempt and 5.2 yards per rush. He has his top 3 receivers back. You know, Miami, Ohio looks like a portal victim based on their success. Wright has 14 starts at his SEC schools. 15 returning starters for the Wildcats is encouraging here. Just too many impact losses for the Red Hawks that had to rely on their special teams heavily. Play here will be Northwestern minus 2.5. Eastern Michigan and UMass college football pick for Saturday. Eastern Michigan finished 6-7 last season for head coach Chris Creighton, who is in his 11th year with the program. The team returns 4 starters on offense with 6 to the defense. The Eagles were 118th in scoring last year, putting up 14 points a game with struggles in both the running and passing game. EMU held opponents to only 27 points a game with really good performance in defending the pass. Buffalo transfer Cole Snyder starts at quarterback. The senior last year completed 55% of his passes for over 2,100 yards. He had a really strong 2022 with the Bulls. UMass went 3-9 in 2023 for head coach Don Brown, who was in his 3rd season. The Minutemen returned 5 starters on offense, 6 to the defense. The team put up 22 points a game last season with struggles on third down conversions. Their defense sat near the bottom here, 132nd in the nation, giving up 39 points a game. And they gave nearly 6 yards a carry on the ground and big plays as well in the passing game with 9 yards per pass attempt. The team lost their top 2 running backs and key receiver to the portal. Quarterback Tyson Famachan returns for his senior season. He completed 61% of his passes with 6.6 yards per pass attempt. 3 straight bowl appearances for the Eagles, an upgraded quarterback as well. Playmakers transfer in from the big program. The defense gets healthier after decimated with season-ending injuries to 3 players last year. Minutemen defense, the major concern here, as is their ability to replace their top playmakers. Play Eastern Michigan +2. Colorado State and Texas college football pick here for Saturday. Colorado State was 5-7 last year for Jay Norville, who was in his 3rd season at the school. Returning our 7 starters on offense with 7 to the defense. The Rams offense produced 25 points per game and struggled on the ground. They averaged 291 yards passing per game. Colorado State was a poor defensive team that coughed up 30 points per game. They were exploited in pass defenses. They allowed 72% completion rate, 8 yards per attempt. Braden Fowler Nicolosi, 60% of his passes completed, 7.4 yards per pass attempt. Texas finished at 12-2 straight up in 2023. Steve Sarkisian is in his 4th year at the program. Will have 7 starters return on offense, 8 to the defense. The Longhorns put up 36 points per game last year. They rushed for 5 yards a carry with really accurate quarterback play. On defense, they held opponents at 19 points per game. They were the best in the nation getting off the field on 3rd down. They held opponents at 3 yards per rush, but allowed 7.1 yards per pass attempt. Their offensive line returns with 4 starters, but lost quality starters on the D-line. Quinn Ewers returns at quarterback. He showed improvement in 2023, completing 70% of his passes, nearly 9 yards per pass attempt. Now, Colorado State is inexperienced on the defensive line. The balance of the Longhorns' offense will result in high volume of points from their side. The Rams figure to be high volume in passing here, which will contribute to a high-scoring game. Play Colorado State and Texas over 60. FIU and Indiana college football pick for Saturday. FIU finished at 4-8 in 2023 for head coach Mike McIntyre, who is in his 3rd season with the school. The Golden Panthers returned 8 starters on offense, 6 to the defense. This was a poor offensive team that put up 20 points per game and were near the bottom of college football on 3rd down. They rushed for just 3 yards a carry and had below average play at quarterback. Defensively, they surrendered 34 points a game and allowed 4.8 yards per rush, along with 8 yards per pass attempt. Keon Jenkins returns for his 2nd season at quarterback. He completed 58% of his passes for 7.3 yards per pass attempt with 11 picks. Indiana went 3-9 last year. Head coach Kurt Cignetti is in his 1st year with the school. The Hoosiers returned 9 starters on offense, 11 to the defense. They put up only 20 points per game last year with 3.2 yards per rush, 6.7 yards per pass attempt. The defense gave up 32 points at 4.4 yards per rush attempt, along with 257 yards passing per game. Curtis Rourke here will start at quarterback as he transfers from Ohio after 4 seasons. Cignetti also brought playmakers and defensive players in from his former James Madison team. Hoosiers' experience on defense is the key here, along with their coaching change. FIU's offense will struggle here. Play FIU in Indiana under 51.5. Kennesaw State and UTSA college football pick this one here on Saturday. Kennesaw State finished at 3-6 straight up in their final year in the FCS. Brian Bohannon is in his 9th season with the school and has 7 starters on offense, back with 9 on the defense. Their defense was the best side of the football for the Owls. Davis Bryson expected to start at quarterback. He's seen limited action in 4 games the past 2 seasons. He is a threat to run with 2 rushing touchdowns, 8.6 yards per rush average. UTSA went 9-4 last year for head coach Jeff Traylor, who is now in his 5th season. Roadrunners returned 7 starters on offense and to the defense. The team sat 27th in total offense by putting up 32 points per game, 4.3 yards per rush. On the defense, they limited foes to 24 points per game, only 3.7 yards per rush. They must replace their starting quarterback Frank Harris. Returning for UTSA, their top 3 rushers. Key starters on the on defense here exit the portal. Owen McCown is expected to start at quarterback. The junior saw limited work the past 2 seasons. He posted a good performance in their bowl game against Marshall, but Kennesaw State's run threat quarterback could be troublesome for a Roadrunners team, losing talent on the defensive side. The loss of Frank Harris is big for this program. Play Kennesaw State here plus 25. Akron and Ohio State college football pick this one here on Saturday. Akron went 2-10 in 2024 for head coach Joe Moorhead in his 3rd season. The Zips returned 3 starters on offense, 6 to the defense. The Zips were 129th in scoring offense by putting up 15.5 points per game. The team rushed for only 3.1 yards a carry and averaged 5.4 yards per pass attempt. On defense, they allowed 28 points per game, 4.2 yards per rush. Akron held opposing quarterbacks here to 57% completion rate. Exiting for the Zips is their starting quarterback along with their top receivers and running back. NC State and Cal transfer Ben Finley will start at QB. The senior completed 57% of his passes last year for 6.1 yards per pass attempt. Ohio State finished 11-2 last year for head coach Ryan Day, who's in his 6th year at the school. The Buckeyes brought back 6 starters on offense, 9 to the defense, and they put up 35 points per game, 4.2 yards per rush. The passing game generated 261 yards a game. They were second in scoring defense by allowing 11.5 points a game. The team rushed for only 3.5 yards a carry, and the Buckeyes hit with 5 yards per pass attempt allowed. Chip Kelly was hired as offensive coordinator. The defense is loaded with talent, and the team can retain their elite status on that side of the football. Will Howard will start at quarterback. The senior transfer from Kansas State, where he completed 61% of his passes last year with 7.4 yards per pass attempt. A threat to run as he had 9 rushing touchdowns and averaged 4.3 yards per rush. Akron will be challenged to get points on the board. Would expect the Buckeyes to have a sizable lead, play their backups in the final quarter to milk clock, play Akron and Ohio State under 59. Miami and Florida college football pick for Saturday. Miami finished 7-6 last year for head coach Mario Cristobal, who is in his 3rd season with the school. Hurricanes returned 9 starters on offense, 7 to the defense. Miami averaged 30 points per game last season with 5 yards per rush and 250 yards passing. The defense allowed 24 points a game, holding teams to 3.5 yards per run, 56% completion rate. Miami received quarterback Cam Ward and running back Damian Martinez in the portal. Ward completed 2/3 of his passes, about 67% of his passes last year. 7.7 yards per pass attempt and 8 rushing touchdowns. Florida went 5-7 in 2023 for head coach Billy Napier, who is in his 3rd season. The Gators returned 8 starters on offense, 6 to the defense. They put up 26.5 points per game last year with 4.1 yards per rush. They did complete 72% of their passes on defense. The team gave up 29 points per game, allowing 5.1 yards per rush, 8.5 yards per pass attempt. Graham Mertz completed 73% of his passes last year, 8 yards per pass attempt. Mertz's improvement last year really encouraging. The Florida defense has 1 more year of experience. Wore a former FCS quarterback, remember, with Incarnate Word. So he's going to face an SEC defense here in a tough environment on the road. Play here will be Florida +3. UTEP and Nebraska college football pick. This one here on Saturday. UTEP finished at 3-9 last season. Scotty Walden is in his 1st year with a program that returns 4 starters on offense, 5 in the defense. They produced only 19 points a game last year and were 120th on 3rd down conversions. The team rushed for only 3.5 yards per carry, got inaccurate play at the quarterback position. Defensively, the Miners allowed 30 points per game, plus surrendered 5.6 yards per rush. UTEP must replace their top receiver and top 2 running backs. The team does receive some Austin Peay players in from the portal. Of course, that's where their coach comes from. Cade McConnell will be at 50% of his passes for 8.4 yards per pass attempt. Returns as starter now. Nebraska, they went 5-7 last year for head coach Matt Rule, who enters his 3rd season. The Cornhuskers were 120th in scoring offense last year, putting up 18 points a game and getting inaccurate passing, but running for 4.4 yards a carry. The defense held opponents to 18 points a game, only 3 yards per rush. Nebraska held opponents to 6.1 yards per pass attempt. They do have experience on that offensive line. Freshman quarterback Dylan Raiola will get the start, but Nebraska's experience on the offensive line, the key here. The Miners' run defense could be a major issue here and make it a really long day for UTEP. The Miners will struggle to score on this Cornhusker defense. Play Nebraska minus 27.5. Boise State and Georgia Southern college football pick. This one here on Saturday. Boise State finished at 8-6 last season. Head coach Spencer Danielson will have 6 starters back on offense, 11 to the defense in his first full season. The team put up 31 points per game last year, 5.5 yards per rush, inaccurate quarterback play. On defense, the Broncos allowed 26 points and 4.4 yards per rush and 259 yards through the air. They are experienced on the offensive line, but must replace the receiving core. Madison will start at quarterback. The junior saw work in 9 games last season, completing 61% of his passes, 9 yards per pass attempt. Georgia Southern went 6-7 in 2023 for head coach Clay Helton, who is in his 3rd season at the school, returning our 5 starters on offense, 8 to the defense. The Eagles averaged about 30 points a game last season behind a run game that averaged 3.9 yards a carry and 305 yards passing. On defense, they did allow 33 points and 411 yards a game. They allowed 4.6 yards per carry, 253 yards through the air. All right, J.C. French will start at quarterback. Limited work last year. He did complete 81% of his passes, 7.6 yards per pass attempt. He's a threat to run. Boise State's pass defense, a question mark based on on this Eagles passing attack. Georgia Southern returns a lot to their defense, and the Broncos quarterback play still is in question. Play Georgia Southern plus 13. Old Dominion and South Carolina college football pick for action Saturday. Old Dominion went 6-7 in 2023 for head coach Ricky Rain, who's in his 4th season. The Monarchs returned 6 starters to the offense, 4 to the defense. Their offense put up 25 points per game with 4.5 yards per run and struggles with quarterback accuracy. They surrendered 29 points a game with 3.5 yards a carry on the ground. Defending the pass was a weakness, with the Monarchs allowing 66% completion rate, 7.4 yards per pass attempt. They lose several playmakers to the portal. Grant Wilson returns at quarterback for his senior season. He completed only 57% of his passes with 6.9 yards per pass attempt. South Carolina went 5-7 for Shane Beamer, who was in his 4th season. The Gamecocks returned 7 on offense, 8 to the defense. They put up 24 points per game. Last year, only 2.8 yards per rush. They did throw for 67% completion rate, 261 yards through the air. Their defense held opponents at 27 points per game, 4.1 yards per rush. Team surrenders 246 yards passing per game, 7.5 yards per pass attempt. Of course, there'll be Lenore Sellers will start at quarterback. He threw for 4 passes last season, with 2 going for touchdowns and totaling 86 yards. He shined in the spring and helped Raheem Sanders and will get help from Raheem Sanders in the backfield. A career 5.6 yards per rush average, who also contributes to the passing game. Defensive line concerns for the Gamecocks. The Monarchs' pass defense will struggle here. South Carolina gave up a lot of passing yards, and Old Dominion returns a senior quarterback. Play Old Dominion, South Carolina over 52. North Texas and South Alabama college football pick here for Saturday. North Texas finished 5-7 last year for head coach Eric Morris, who returns for his 3rd season. The Mean Green returned 4 starters on offense, 6 to the defense. The team put up 33 points a game with 5.1 yards per rush. The passing game generated 303 yards per game. On defense, they allowed just over 37 points a game, 5.7 yards per rush. They gave up big plays in the passing game with 8.4 yards per pass attempt. The team must replace a quarterback plus top receiver and running back. Junior quarterback Chandler Morris will start at QB. A TCU transfer who completed over 65% of his passes last year with 7.5 yards per pass attempt, a run threat that averaged 5.5 yards per run. South Alabama 7-6 in 2023. Major Applewhite in his 1st season here with the school, that will return 4 starters on offense with 3 to the defense. The Jaguars put up 332.9 points per game last year, rushed for 4.6 yards a carry. They got accurate quarterback play. The defense gave up 21 points per game, only 3.3 yards per rush. South Alabama held opposing quarterbacks to 57% completion rate. They lost 2 top running backs and must replace their starting quarterback. Joe Lopez to start at quarterback for the Jaguars. He did see limited action last season, hitting 67% of his passes, 8 yards per pass attempt. He is a threat to run, 8.6 yards per rush. Experience for both teams on the offensive side of the football. Rather high number here on the total for week 1, with teams suffering high turnovers offensively. Play North Texas, South Alabama under 64.5. UNLV and Houston college Football pick Saturday. UNLV went 9-5 last year for head coach Barry Odom, who's in his third season. Rebels returned 5 starters to the offense, 6 to the defense. The team averaged 34 points a game, rushed for 4.3 yards a carry. Rebels threw for 248 yards a game. The defense allowed 30 points per game with 4.3 yards per rush. On defense, they gave 255 yards passing. Rebels lost their starting quarterback to the portal, and their running back retires. Matthew Sluka will co-star to quarterback. The seniors transferred Holy Cross, who had a really good numbers in 3 seasons. Probably the best of the 3 competing here. Haj Malik Williams at Campbell transfer, and Cameron Friel, who returns, could also see action. Houston finished 4-8 a year ago. Willie Fritz is in his first year with the school. The Cougars returned 5 starters to the offense and to the defense. Team put up 24 points a game a year ago. They rushed for 4 yards a carry, had 64% completion rate. Defense allowed 31 points a game, 4.3 yards a carry. They need to improve in pass defense that surrendered 68% completions, 8 yards per pass attempt. Donovan Smith returns at starting quarterback, completed 65% of his passes, 7.1 yards per pass attempt, and rushed for 6 touchdowns. The Cougars quarterback situation, stable, quality there. UNLV has question marks at the quarterback position, naming 3 co-starters for this game means you don't have a starter. Willie Fritz restored this offensive line through the portal and should improve the defense coming over here. Play here, Houston -2.5. Nevada and Troy college football pick for action on Saturday. Nevada 0-1 after their 29-24 home defeat to SMU. Wolfpack blew an 11-point fourth quarter lead. They put up 298 yards with 3.4 yards per run. Brendan Lewis 14-26 passing, 132 yards and 2 touchdowns. He did rush for 77 yards. Defensively, they allowed 48 yards to the Mustangs with 308 yards passing for 8.8 yards per pass attempt. Troy went 11-3 last year. Gerard Parker is in his first season with the school. They returned only 2 starters back on offense and to the defense. The Trojans averaged 28 points per game last year, rushed for 4.1 yards a carry, and threw for 270 yards a game. On defense, the Trojans limited foes to 16 points per game. They held opponents at 3.2 yards per rush, only 6.6 yards per pass attempt. The former coach John Summerall is headed to Tulane, and so are many of his players, right? They took him over there. A total rebuild here. Goose Crowder will start at quarterback, a West Virginia transfer who threw 13 passes last year in limited work. Nevada's offense has the benefit of a game under their belt. Their pass defense a question mark with the mass departures. It's hard to believe that the Trojans can maintain that level of suffocating defense that we've seen in the past, playing Nevada and Troy over 45. Sam Houston and Rice college football pick for action on Saturday. Sam Houston finished 3-9 last year for head coach Casey Keeler, who's in his 11th season. The Bearcats returned 8 starters to the offense, 4 to the defense. They averaged just about 19.5 points a game last year, but only 3 yards per rush. The downfield pass attack suffered through a 5.9 yards per pass attempt average. Defensively, they limited opponents to 26 points per game, 4.2 yards a carry. They allowed 65% completion rate, 245 yards per pass, yards passing a game. But there is a quarterback battle between Jace Bauer, Grant Gunnell, and Hunter Watson, who are listed all as co-starters. Bauer started at Central Michigan last year, where he completed 57% of his passes with 6.6 yards per attempt. He rushed for 10 touchdowns. Now Rice 6-7 last year for head coach Mike Bloomgren, who's in his 7th season at the school. The Owls returned 6 starters on offense, 8 to the defense. Rice produced 27 points a game a season ago with only 3.6 yards per rush. Passing game generated 252 yards per game, 7.4 yards per pass attempt. Temple transfer E.J. Warner is to start at quarterback. Last year he completed 57% of his passes with 7 yards per pass attempt, over 3,000 yards. But there's been lots of turnover for the offenses on both teams. Sam Houston State, you really can't separate the 3 quarterbacks. 3 co-starters means you have no starting quarterback. The Owls are experienced on defense. Play Sam Houston and Rice under 49.5. All right, we've got Western Kentucky and Alabama college football pick for Saturday. Western Kentucky finished 8-5 last year. Head coach Ty Helton will turn returned for his sixth season with 8 starters back on offense, 5 to the defense. The team put up about 29 points a game last season, rushed for about 4 yards a carry. Passing game produced 293 yards per game, but lacked efficiency on defense. The Hilltoppers surrendered. On defense, the Hilltoppers here surrendered 29 points, but 5 yards per rush average. Opponents completed 58% of their passes with 6.2 yards per pass attempt. Team replaced quarterback Austin Reed with TJ Finley, who completed 67% of his passes at Texas State last year for 8.3 yards per pass attempt and rushed for 5 rushing touchdowns. Alabama finished 12-2 in Nick Saban's final season. Kalen DeBoer is now the head coach. Will have 7 starters return on offense, 6 to the defense. The Crimson Tide averaged 31 points a game last year with 4 yards per run. They completed 63% of their passes for 9.5 yards per pass attempt. Crimson Tide held opponents at just about 20 points a game and only 3.7 yards per rush. They were great on third down, held foes at 197 yards passing per game. Jalen Monroe returns at quarterback after completing 66% of his passes with 10 yards per pass attempt. Monroe rushed for 531 yards with 12 touchdowns. The Alabama front seven is the key to suppressing Hilltoppers' scoring here. Finley struggled in his time at Auburn and must worry about his effectiveness against this Crimson Tide defense. He may not get much help from a run game that averaged under 4 yards a carry. Play Western Kentucky and Alabama under 59.5. All right, next up will be UCLA and Hawai'i college football pick. This one here on Saturday. UCLA finished 8-5 in 2023. Chip Kelly resigned. Didn't want to deal with the NIL issue here. Opted for an offensive coordinator position in Ohio State. Deshaun Foster is in his first year as the head coach. The Bruins will have 7 starters on offense, back 5 on the defense. They put up just 24 points a game last year, 4.5 yards per pass attempt. The team threw for 4.5 yards per rush. The team threw for 231 yards per game, 7 yards per pass attempt. UCLA limited his opponents to 19 points and just 2.7 yards a carry on the ground, and teams completed only 61% of their passes, 6.5 yards per pass attempt. Defense was exceptional last season. The offensive line is experienced, and Foster expected to keep that running game at high volume carries again. UCLA loses their defensive coordinator to USC and must replace their best player on defense in Lot 2. Quarterback Ethan Garbers returns for his senior season. Garbers completed 67% of his passes last year, 7.8 yards per pass attempt. Hawaii comes off a 35-14 home win at FCS Delaware State. Warriors finished with 331 yards, rushed for 4.7 yards a carry. They allowed 260 yards to the Hornets with 156 passing yards for only 5.4 yards per pass attempt. Braden Shager went 17-34 for 203 yards and 2 touchdowns. After a sluggish first half, the Warriors got it together. They do have a game under their belt. UCLA will miss Matuin and their defensive coordinator. There are questions surrounding Foster's lack of experience as the head coach. This is an experienced Warriors team with 15 starters back. We'll take the points here. Play Hawaii at plus 14. Fresno State and Michigan college football pick. This one here on Saturday. Fresno State finished 9-4 last year. Tim Scooper enters his first year as head coach with the program returning 8 starters on offense, 5 of the defense. Of course, Tedford resigned here in the summer. The Bulldogs put up 30 points per game last year, 3.7 yards per rush, 286 yards passing per game. On defense, they limited opponents to 23 points a game, 4.4 yards per run. They held foes a 55% completion rate, 202 yards passing per game. Fresno State returns Mikey Keene at quarterback along with their running backs and 4 starters to the line. Keene last season, 67% completion rate, 7.1 yards per pass attempt. Michigan finished 15-0 last year, winning the national championship. Sherrone Moore is in his first full season as head coach as Jim Harbaugh goes to the NFL. Only 2 starters return on offense, 5 of the defense. The Wolverines put up 36 points a game last year with a running game that rushed for 4.5 yards a carry. Completion rate was 72%, 8.9 yards per pass attempt. Michigan had the top scoring defense in the nation in 2023 by allowing 10 points per game. They held opponents to 3 yards per rush with 157 yards passing. Exiting is quarterback J.J. McCarthy, who went 27-1 as a starter. Junior quarterback Alex Orji expected to start a quarterback. He has thrown only 1 pass in his past 2 seasons as a backup, but posted 21 rushing attempts with 3 touchdowns. Not only did Harbaugh exit, but he took his defensive coordinator with him. This is an experienced Fresno State team. Michigan has Texas at home the following week. Keene's accuracy behind an experienced offensive line, the key to cover here. Play Fresno State plus 21.5. Notre Dame and Texas A&M college football pick. This one here on Saturday. Notre Dame went 10-3 in 2023. Marcus Freeman is in his third year with the school that returns 5 starters on offense, 9 to the defense. They put up 38 points per game last year, 5.2 yards per rush. They threw for 239 yards a game. Fine Irish was 9th in scoring defense by allowing 17 points per game, 3.7 yards per rush. They limited opponents to 53% completion rate, 5.7 yards per pass attempt. Riley Leonard will start at quarterback, transferring from Duke. His numbers dipped last year, just over a 57% completion rate, 6.7 yards per pass attempt. He did run for 4 touchdowns, 6.1 yards per pass attempt. 6.1 yards per rush, I should say. Texas A&M 7-6 on the campaign in 2023. Mike Elko is in his first year at the school that brings back 9 starters on offense and defense. They posted 33 points per game last year, 3.9 yards per rush. The passing game generated 270 yards per game, 8.1 yards per pass attempt. On defense, the Aggies allowed 23 points a game. They held opponents at 3.3 yards per rush, but 7.7 yards per pass attempt. Connor Wegman suffered a broken foot last season. He played in 4 games, 69% completion rate, 8.2 yards per pass attempt, plus he rushed for 2 touchdowns, averaging 5.3 yards per carry. Head coach and offensive coordinator upgrade for the Aggies. 18 returning starters is encouraging for this home favorite. Leonard's drop-off in performance last year is a concern. Play Texas A&M here at -3. Southern Miss and Kentucky college football pick. This one here is on Saturday. Southern Miss finished at 3-9 last year for head coach Will Hall, who was in his 4th season at the school. The Golden Eagles returned 4 starters on offense, 6 to the defense. The team produced only 21 points per game last year with 4 yards per rush. Passing game was poor with 49% completion rate. On defense, they allowed 38 points per game with 5 yards per run. They gave up 260 yards passing per game, 9.2 yards per pass attempt. Quarterback situation is upgraded through the portal and an efficient running back returns. Florida State transfer Tate Rodemaker is the starter at quarterback. He saw limited action the past 2 seasons, about a 58% completion rate, 8.8 yards per pass attempt. Kentucky was 7-6 last year for head coach Mark Stoops, who's in his 12th season. 7 starters return on offense and defense. The Wildcats put up 29 points per game last year with 4.9 yards per rush. They threw for 204 yards passing per game with 7.3 yards per pass attempt. On defense, Kentucky allowed nearly 27 points a game, 3.3 yards per rush. They did allow 68% completion rate, 242 yards passing. The team loses their starting quarterback and lead running back. Georgia transfer Brock Vandegrift will start at QB. He threw 18 passes last year, 67% completion rate, 9.2 yards per pass attempt. Wildcats pass defense is in question here. The upgraded quarterback for the Golden Eagles is the key for this cover. There's a lot of points here. We'll take Southern Miss plus 28. Georgia State and Georgia Tech college football pick. This one here on Saturday. Georgia State finished at 7-6 last year for head coach Del McGee, who's in his first year with the school. The Panthers averaged 26 points per game in 2024 with 4.7 yards per rush. They got accurate passing with 67% completions, 7.1 yards per pass attempt. On defense, they allowed 30 points per game with 4.4 yards per carry. They allowed 269 yards passing per game last season with 8.1 yards per pass attempt. Christian Veldue will expect to see action at quarterback. The Pittsburgh transfer completed 51% of his passes, 6.4 yards per pass attempt. Georgia Tech 1-0 after that 24-21 victory last week in Dublin against Florida State. Yellow Jackets put up 336 yards, 5.3 yards per rush. Haynes King hit 11-16 for 146 yards, 9.1 yards per pass attempt. On defense, they held Florida State to 291 yards, 193 passing for 7.1 yards per pass attempt. The Panthers' defense is a concern here. Georgia Tech is experienced on offense, but not on defense. We'll take Georgia State and Georgia Tech here to go over 55.5. James Madison and Charlotte's college football pick for Saturday. James Madison went 11-2 last year. Head coach Bob Chesney is in his first season with the school that returns 8 starters on offense, 9 to the defense. The team put up 34 points per game last year with 3.7 yards per rush. The team threw for 293 yards per game, 8.7 yards per pass attempt with really great accuracy. On defense, the Dukes allowed 21 points per game with 2.7 yards per rush, 259 yards passing. The team must replace their top receivers. Dylan Morris is a quarterback transferring in from Washington. He's been limited action the past 3 seasons, completing 60% of his passes, 7.2 yards per pass attempt. Charlotte finished at 3-9 in 2023 for head coach Biff Apogee, who enters here his 3rd season. The 49ers have 6 starters back on offense, 5 of the defense. The team averaged just 17 points per game last season, 3.7 yards per rush. They passed for 171 yards per game and 6.1 yards per pass attempt. Defensively, Charlotte allowed 31 points a game, 4.7 yards per rush. They allowed 64% completion rate, 7.7 yards per pass attempt. They do bring a quarterback transfer from Florida and a running back from Iowa State. Max Brown, in limited work with Florida last year, hit 68% of his passes, 192 yards, and a pick. He averaged 6.9 yards per pass attempt. James Madison has experience, and the 49ers are rebuilding really without much foundation. The Charlotte defense is the concern as their leaders from last year exiting the program. Play James Madison -8. New Mexico and Arizona college football pick Saturday. New Mexico 0-1 after the 35-31 home defeat to FCS Montana State. The Lobos put up 324 yards with 152 rushing for 5.4 yards per rush. They were only 1 of 8 on 3rd down. Devin Dampier hit 18 of 26 passes for 172 yards and a touchdown for 6.6 yards per pass attempt. Defensively, about 567 yards of the Bobcats with 362 rushing yards, 7.7 yards per run. Arizona finished at 10-3 on the year. Brent Bannon is in his 1st year as head coach. The returning are 8 starters on offense, 7 here to the defense. The Wildcats put up 34 points per game last year, 4.4 yards per rush. They threw for 309 yards passing per game, 8.5 yards per pass attempt. The Wildcats held opponents to 22 points per game, 3.8 yards per rush, but they did give up 244 yards passing, 7.3 yards per pass attempt. Many playmakers returned for the Wildcats and have 4 starters back on the offensive line. Noah Fafita completed 72% of his passes last year for 8.6 yards per pass attempt. Arizona must replace their entire defensive line. There was a coaching change for the Wildcats with Jeff Fish moving to Washington. Their pass defense really struggled last year. The coaching change in New Mexico to Bronco Mendenhall is a positive here. Play New Mexico +31. Wyoming and Arizona State college football pick Saturday. Head coach Jace Salvell in his 1st season with the team that returned 6 starters on offense, 7 to the defense as he takes over for the retiring coach. The Cowboys put up 25 points per game, 4.4 yards per rush a season ago. They threw for only 166 yards or 6.9 yards per pass attempt. Defense, the Cowboys held opponents at 23 points per game, 4.3 yards per pass attempt. They gave up only 58% completion rate, 6.4 yards per pass attempt. Their running back and line experience, they must replace their top 2 receivers. Evan Swoboda will start at quarterback. He saw limited work as a backup last year, hit 60% of his passes, 5.3 yards per pass attempt. His rushing numbers netted only 3.2 yards a carry. Arizona State went 3-9 last year for head coach Kenny Dillingham, who returns for his 2nd full season. The Sun Devils returned 6 starters on offense for the defense. They put up only 17 points per game last year, 3.6 yards per rush. Quarterback play was inefficient with 55% completions, 5.6 yards per pass attempt. Defense, ASU allowed 33 points and 412 yards per game. They allowed 4.3 yards per rush with 65% completion rate, 7.5 yards per pass attempt. Michigan State transfer Sam Levitt will start at quarterback. He saw limited work last year, 65% completion of his passes, 6 yards per pass attempt. He rushed for 5.2 yards a carry. Cowboys defensive coordinator takes over as head coach, as we said. There is continuity here on this Wyoming defense. Quarterback play was all run, no pass last year. They will have a chance to make things happen through the air. ASU really sunk down badly last year. We'll take Wyoming +7. All right, that'll do it for our college football picks show. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have free college football picks updated all season long with free picks every day from the major sports, making it a great time to subscribe. Guys, give us a like, a thumbs up on this video. It really helps our channel, helps us build up our audience. Then visit our site, Tony'sPicks.com, for our best plays. Our pre picks are there. Remember that promo code TonyT at checkout will save you that 15% off. And of course, that executive service, call or text 323-607-0203. All right, we also have all 15 MLB picks up there for you as well. Ramon with WNBA. Of course, we got Cappers contributing with picks, parlay video here from David Racy. We also have picks here from Bo Dunn, Ron Crawford with his spreadsheet play of the day as well. Mindy coming up as picks as well. So lots of Capper contribution, guys. So make sure you subscribe and get those picks. I'm Tony T. We'll talk with you later.